What's up, guys? It's Intelitech Studios here, and this is my Dyson DC18 all floors that I just got. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff in the background. But anyways, this Dyson DC18 all floors, I just picked this up yesterday, and it was in pretty good condition when I got it, so I didn't really bother showing it off because it's not really like a vacuum saved worthy thing where it's like, oh, hey, it's in horrible condition, let's see if we can't fix it up. It's more so just like, hey, someone had this Dyson, it was in good condition, so I bought it and paid for it with money. So all it really needed is I just wiped it down with a sponge, and with a damp sponge, and that's really all I did to it. And then the only other thing is I pulled out the brush roll and I cleaned out the bearings because the bearings were full of hair. It's weird because the actual brush roll didn't have a whole ton of hair on it, but the bearings were just, these end caps and these little inner bearings, whatever you call these little metal rods were completely covered in hair. So I had to clean those up, and I also went ahead and washed the filter and emptied the dustbin, and that's all I really did to it. Just kind of did this. I haven't turned this on yet, so we're gonna do that in this video. But we can see it's a Dyson Slim DC18 all floors for all floor types with a 5-year warranty. And that warranty is active. I just registered this on my Dyson account, and the warranty is active, so I have a 5-year warranty on this. There's the serial number. This one, as you can see, this was manufactured. I don't know why they put the sticker upside down. As you can see, this was manufactured on the, what is that? That says the 40th week. This is manufactured on the 40th week of 2006. I haven't done the math yet to see what actual month that is, but I will add that in the description. And, oh, by the way, and the cyclone assembly, it has, the filter, there was cat litter all in here, and in the filter had like an actual, like, clump of hair on it, and there was hair actually sticking out of one of the cyclone assembly pieces. This isn't even dry. What the hell? I left this out for... It says to leave it out for 12 hours, and this thing's still wet. Okay, well, that sucks. But yeah, so... Why is that still damp? That's supposed to be dry. It says right on the filter to leave it out for 12 hours. Oh, well. Yeah, and it's been drying for like 14 hours. Anyways. So this... You can see the cyclones. This obviously has just the standard root cyclone technology, and so all that normal stuff. The actual inside of this cyclone, you can see like they're clogged with cat litter. So the shroud is has some of the holes clogged with cat litter. So I need to clean that out as well as wash out the bin. But I mean, since I cleaned out the brush roll, the only other real thing it needs is I'm going to take apart this and clean it out. And beyond that, it should be completely good. The hose and wand, there's no clogs anywhere in the machine. I already tested for that. Even without turning the machine on, I just stuck my shark on the end of this, and there was suction here. So, and I didn't see any blockages in this hose. And the hose is still pretty clear, so I can still see through it. So... they didn't use this for very long, for a very long period of time. From what they told me, I don't like sitting in this chair because you can see my knees. Anyways, so they told me that the guy told me that they used it. They bought it brand new, presumably in 2006, and just barely ever used it. And they only used it a little bit, and they stuck it in storage and pretty much never touched it again. And the only wear that it has on it is the wheels have some scratches on it. And this handle has a gouge right there from where it was obviously... Focus! Has a little gouge right there from where it was obviously dropped on the handle. But beyond that, it's in pretty good shape. When I bought it, he also said it had both of the attachments, but in the time of him transporting it to me, he dropped the stair tool, which is fantastic, and he hasn't found it yet. But he says he has it. And because he advertised in the listing that it had both the attachments, and I specifically said it has both the attachments, and he said yes. And so when I went to pick it up, I was like, "Where's the stair tool?" And he's like, "Yeah, that must have fell off. I'll look in the storage unit that it was sitting in. It probably fell out." And he's like, "I'll let you know whenever I find it." And he hasn't found it yet, and it's been over a day. But I went ahead and ordered another one, but I still want the one that I paid for. But if he never finds it, that's no big deal. I'm still glad that I got it. I paid $100 for this. I probably could have talked him down, but he had it listed for 100, and I was the first person to message him, and it was first come first serve. So I always get really nervous about those listings because a lot of times I'll message the person, and while I'm negotiating with them, someone else will message them and pick it up right then. And then right as I'm about to leave to go pick it up, they'll say, "Oh, someone else already grabbed it," and like they won't even tell me that someone else is talking to them. So they just like don't want to sell it to me, and that happens all the time. And I've had issues where I've had issues where I've driven like an hour to meet someone for something, whether it's a vacuum or something else, and they just don't show up and say, "Sorry, someone else just got it," even though we already agreed on a meeting time. But thankfully, this person didn't do any of that. So this person was really nice, they're really friendly, and it came from a joint Facebook account, where it's like this person and their partner. And I'm always really wary of those accounts because they kind of creep me out in all honesty. And there's just kind of the factor of like I don't know who the heck I'm talking to because there's two people on this account, so I have no idea who I'm actually communicating with. And am I gonna be communicating with this person and then the other person finds someone else and then that person buys it and then I just wasted all my time or what? But again, none of that happened with this person. Am I doing this right? None of that happened with this person. They were very nice. Again, whichever one of them I was talking to. They were very nice, and the only reason they sold this, at least what they told me, is that the classic story. They moved into a place that had all hardwood floors, so they didn't really need it. Am I doing this right? Hold on one sec. I think I got that in there right. Should be fine. I'm just gonna run it for real quick. But yeah, I've never owned a DC18 before. But nevertheless, they said that they got hardwood floors and they didn't need it, so they figured they would sell it on. And thank goodness that I found it. And unfortunately, literally the moment, see, because right before this listing popped up and I messaged the person to get it, one that was in worse condition popped up on eBay, and I immediately grabbed it. So my plan is that I was going to meet these guys, and then what was that snap? And then if they showed up and I actually got it, then I'd cancel the other order. But literally the exact minute that I showed up and met the person for this, I got an email from eBay saying that it was shipped. So, and obviously, you can't really cancel an order, and it would be kind of mean of me to cancel an order anyways after I already bought it. So, I will be getting a second DC18 in the next few days, in like the next week or so. And I'll probably end up sending it back, but because obviously I don't need two of these, but who knows? Maybe I'll keep it and sell it on to someone else. It depends. Or maybe maybe I'll keep it, swap some parts between the two, and then sell one of them. I don't know. We will see. So I'll probably be getting another DC18 as well, because of course I spend a lot of time to find a DC18, and all of a sudden I end up buying two at once by complete accident. So, but again, most people would have thought, hey, you already bought on eBay, so why would you get this one? Well, this one's in much better condition the other one was in. So, yeah. And, you can see, like, the bin's a bit cloudy, but, they sucked up, like, some sort of paint or something. And, this Brushroll housing isn't all that cloudy, which is really good. There were paint marks on the end caps, but I was able to scrub those off. So that's really good. And there are also some paint marks on the machine, but they all just scrubbed right off. Most of them didn't even require the abrasive side. It was just very loose paint that was on there. I just noticed there's some right here too that I'll have to get off. But yeah, so I'll go ahead and put the brushes in, which they go in this way, I think. Is that the correct orientation? No, I don't think. Because the end caps go on like that. Probably should have like better kept track of how I installed these. No, that's correct. Okay, that's the correct way to do it. And or no, I'm supposed. Am I doing this right? See, I've never serviced a DC18 before. Hold on, I'm gonna have to do this off camera real quick. Alright, so when you're actually focusing on it, it's actually super simple. It's just kind of a matter of just jiggling the brushes until you get them lined up. And once you get them lined up, you twist the caps. Then, of course, you just grab a little penny, and you can twist both of these little catches. Of course, you can also use a flat tip screwdriver, but it's easier to just use some sort of a coin and lock those into place. I like how they're front facing, so they're actually not on the bottom and prone to getting scratched up. So that's the one thing I love about the DC18 and a lot of these newer Dysons is that you don't have to worry about any sort of clutch. It's just its own thing. Granted, replacing a clutch is a lot less expensive than replacing a cleaner head, but that's something that's nice, is that if this thing breaks, which would be a lot less often than a clutch, if it does break, you just swap this entire head assembly, and it's just a quick, 30-second thing. So yeah, that's all back together, and you can see it's really, really nice. And yeah, so again, it's missing the stair tool, but beyond that, it's in pretty good condition. And I don't know if I mentioned this before, but the reason why I always wanted a DC18 is because whenever I was little, my stepmom at the time, she worked at some sort of store, or maybe her parents worked at some sort of store. I forgot what the relation was. But either way, we were always at some sort of a appliance store. I don't remember if it was a Sears, if it was a Lowe's, if it was a Circuit City. I don't know. It was some sort of appliance store, some sort of store that sold appliances. And I remember at the time, the DC18 was for sale there, which is kind of weird because this would have been 2009 to like 2010, and the DC25 would have already been out at this point, but I specifically remember it being the 18, maybe because it was a discounted model at the time. But they had the DC18 as well as the 17, and obviously like the 14 and stuff, but I'm pretty sure maybe they were like one of those like discount stores that sell like older machines once they've been discounted, like a Big Lots kind of esque store. But anyways, for some reason they had the 18s in stock, and they had floor models. And unlike a lot of the stores, they had floor models that were actually at ground level, so you could actually grab the vacuum and you could plug it in and use it and try it out, kind of like how Sears used to do. And so what I did a lot of times is I would basically give like little demos in the store. I would show off the root cyclone technology, I'd show off the Brushroll, I'd show off the quick release wand on these. Basically just go like full HSN mode, because back when I was little, I used to watch those Dyson HSN demos for fun. And, so that's kind of where I know this machine from. Every DC18 that I've seen up until now has been in a store. I had never seen a domestic DC18 like out in the wild, because everyone that I knew, they had 07s, they had 14s, sometimes they even had 15s or 25s. And, of course, this is back then. Nowadays, most people have, DC 40s, 41s, 60s, 35s, whatever. And, that's just where I know this from. So I never owned one myself, and I had never used one before today. So that's kind of why this machine always intrigued me. And obviously because it has the same sort of swivel steering as a ball, but it's supposed to be a much lighter weight machine. And you know that I prefer lightweight vacuums. So, granted, although this honestly isn't all that lightweight, it's still a pretty beefy machine, but it's not bad. Like, I can still lift it just fine. It's a heck of a lot easier to lift than a DC15, and considering this machine only was released a year after the DC15 was, that's kind of insane. Granted, obviously, you can tell that, the way they were able to accomplish that is by putting the motor in the actual assembly, or in the actual body, similar to a shark, instead of in the actual ball, because this is the only Dyson that I'm aware of that doesn't have the motor inside the ball. Because the 15 had inside the ball, the 24, the 25, the 41, the 65, all the newer kinetic models. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the only Dyson ball machine upright that doesn't have the motor inside the ball. And you can see that scrape pretty badly. I think you can still get new wands for these, but I don't know if I'll bother. Hopefully the other one that I'll get has a wand that doesn't have this scratch. Maybe I can just put that wand on here. Also, the wheels are really scratched up because the wheels were fine whenever I looked at the picture, but whenever I met him, the dude threw, not threw it, but he set it down on the concrete parking lot and then rolled it over to me, which I don't know why the fuck you do that. Sorry for cursing. I don't know why you do that, because the thing obviously has a carry handle, and I'm about to pay for something, you're going to scratch the hell out of it. But, whatever. Also, like, not even ignoring, like, I hate when people do that, because, like, let's ignore, because obviously, like, most people aren't collectors, and they don't give a shit if the vacuum gets scratched up. If you gouge these wheels, and you run this on your floor, like a hardwood or linoleum floor, it's going to scratch your floor. It's going to completely scratch up your floor. So I don't know why you would want to do that, because then you're going to end up scratching your floors. Anyways, so let's plug this in. Alright, so it's plugged in. First time I've ever plugged this in. I guess in theory I probably should have turned it on whenever I first got it, but I wanted to clean up the brush first, because I have no doubt this thing's going to run just fine. But let's see if I just jinxed myself, and let's see how good this thing runs. What? Sounds a bit funky to me. Is that just the cyclone assembly? Maybe that's it. Yeah. I think it's just making that noise because some of the shroud holes are plugged with cat litter. I could be wrong though, but I don't think that's the motor. So I think once I clean out that cyclone assembly, that little like whistly noise will probably go away. Probably because the air is being restricted a little bit because of the shroud. The suction was still good though, but it looks like it was reduced a little bit because of that. That's no big deal. And of course, there's no cord clip on these, so I gotta kind of be creative if I want to get the cord out of the way. So let's try this. Well, that's not good. The brush roll doesn't move. Maybe that's because I took it all apart. So maybe I'm going to reset the Brushroll motor real quick. And that should do it. I don't know how long I'm supposed to hold this for. Do I just press it once, or do I hold it? I don't know. I'll just spam it a bunch of times, and that should do it. Maybe that's it. Probably just because it's not, like, calibrated or whatever since I took the brushes out. This power button's hard to push for some reason. It's not like... There we go. Well, there we go. So yes, I was really worried for a sec. I was like, oh no, the brush isn't spinning. Okay, don't panic. Press the reset button. It probably just needs to be re-engaged. And thankfully I was right. So it works beautifully. Again, that tiny little weird wind down sound sounds like it's coming from the cyclone assembly to me. So, and obviously that filter being slightly damp probably was a stupid idea. Oh, there is water in there. That's not good. Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely not using this anymore. I should have. That was really stupid. I should have let that filter dry properly. Yeah, I'm gonna leave. Well, yeah. Should have let that filter dry properly. That was stupid of me. Because there is a tiny bit of moisture in there. Ah, wow. My impatience kills me sometimes. But, you know, shouldn't be too big. It's a tiny amount. It shouldn't be it shouldn't be a big deal. But I'm definitely gonna. I may just go ahead and buy a new filter or two, because that filter, for some reason, even after washing it, the actual foam filter is really sticky for some reason. Like, not sticky as in, like, it doesn't feel like there's anything gross on it, but it's just sticky. I don't know if that's just the plastic deteriorating over time from being in storage or what. So I may end up ordering another filter. The post motor filter probably doesn't need it. Doesn't need anything, because with what little use this thing has had, the post motor filter is probably just fine. I'm pretty sure this has a HEPA filter, just like every other US Dyson. But yeah, so that's the Dyson Slim DC18 all floors acquisition. I got a few other machines as well. I may see, what I'm thinking about doing is, if I do a separate video like this, I'll probably still feature the vacuum in my next vacuum save video, since it is a vacuum that I got. So hopefully that little bit of redundancy will make everyone happy. So if you don't want to watch a specific vacuum video like this and you just want to watch the vacuum saved episodes, then hopefully you'll be happy either way. So no one's like, oh, when did you get this one? And it's a video they didn't see. So hopefully this will be a nice little happy medium that everyone can agree on. But I want to do a video on this one, since this one was the vacuum I'm the most excited to get. Even though that one's a little bit more rare, that Phantom over there, which is also a vacuum that I got recently. I got that one 2 days ago, actually. But yeah, this is the Dyson DC18 Slim all floors. I think that's the correct way you're supposed to say it. Do you say Dyson Slim DC18, or do you say Dyson DC18 Slim? I don't know. Probably doesn't matter. But yeah, so that's the Dyson DC18 all floors Slim vacuum. And yeah, so I freaking love this thing, and I can see why that this didn't. I can see why that this got replaced pretty quickly by the 25, because you know, there's a couple things, because like, it's still kind of heavy. The weird thing is that the handling in the hand, like when you're actually using it, it actually feels like it weighs more than the other Dysons that I have, meaning the 07 and the 33. And those are obviously supposed to be like full-size machines. So obviously that's kind of like the nature of the self-adjusting head versus this motorized, or the clutch system versus this motorized system. But I think that's probably what threw people off and made people not want to get it. I'm just assuming anyways. It feels a lot like the Phantom Fury, where it's a thinner design, but it still has a decent amount of weight to it. And it's pretty much the closest that we ever got to anything like that, to anything like a DC03. Since I would assume this is pretty much the successor to the DC03. I mean, that's what it seems like to me. Of course, the Dyson collectors from the UK, who have much more authority on this regard, can probably correct me on that if I'm wrong. And I know in the UK they got the blue version. Oh my, I'm running out of space. Well, I'll see you guys in the next video. The Teletech Studio is signing out. Have a good one. Oh my, I'm running out of space.